Call.
And basically anything but a deuce or a 4, and Roche will have the winner. That's changed nothing, but it's pretty scary.
I think Peter's a little shell-shocked after the last pot, and you can hardly blame him. I don't think he'd be throwing this pair of 5s away, and he's right.
Sergei Baltaka.
There's another one of those
So
cases
you
where
can
Sergei
either
had the
check
7-8 or
or
something
you
like
can
that.
bet.
He'll have hit a pair of 8s.
Yeah.
Peter not delighted by the fact that
Betting 4,000.
Oh, that's not a very big bet.
there's no way Peter's
Call.
throwing this away. Good call from Peter.
Okay, turn them over.
It was a good call, and it has gotten Roche
Pair
right
of
back
twos.
into it in the rebound pot. He'll be back
Pair
up
of
to
fives.
40,000. The difference between having 20,000 and 40,000 is almost really a factor of 2. A lot of big hands in the first 2 levels, but one massive one has seen Alexander Kuzmin from Russia take a big chip lead, and he took those chips off Peter Roche of Ireland. Besides that, Parg, what have we learned so far?
We've learned that Sergei Baltasha was a much more predictable footballer than a poker player. We've learned that the Irish came to attack.
Alexander Kuzmin is putting on a bit of an exhibition, and you know, it's the first time that I can remember, Parg, where we've seen one team member get a big chip lead and just basically raise every hand. He's putting pressure in the right places. You know, he's even putting pressure on Alicia Kabaj, his countrymate.
Full. Check.
I think there's a lot of districts in Russia.
Well, I mean, I'd say I'm surprised that Kuzmin didn't raise that hand, but
Club sandwich.
he's got nothing at all. Alicia and Andy have the exact same hand. They both got top pair. How is this going to play out?
Well, Kuzmin's also got a little bit of this. He gets first pop here. The way he's played the last 6-7 hands, we can expect a bet from him. And he's made a sensible bet there. He's trying to find out
Call.
where he's at here.
Raise 5,000 more, 9 total.
I think Alex will get the idea here.
Well, this pot allowed to get big slowly. 4,000 bet, 5,000 more. And interesting question will be how committed Alicia is to this pot.
I think she may well call this, or even raise it. I mean, she will know that if Andy had a king with a big kicker, he might have raised that before the flop.
Check.
Be very surprised if all the
No,
chips
she's
don't
checked
go
this
in.
one too. I like this.
14,000.
Very surprised if all the chips don't go in here, Parg.
Okay, you have to make it 28. Re-raise Oleg. That has to be 28.
Wow. Alicia's made a small re-raise, and Andy has very quickly stuck all his chips in.
So we're all in then,
Yeah, but I think Alicia's going to find this quite an easy call.
Yep. Chip.
I don't think Andy is.
55.
I don't think.
No?
I
Straight?
don't,
No.
Running out of options.
Well,
size
I'll
already.
tell you what, there was a bit of relief on either side right there.
Yeah, it quite often happens.
I'd have pulled those.
And this pot will be split. If one of those two players had kings and nines, it would have been a bit.
Straight, no. It was a great chip, man.
Well, they're both quite excited to getting their chips back here.
Can't blame him. That was a very dangerous pot. You know, everything being made more dangerous by Kuzmin, who's he's been dictating the action, and he managed to dictate the action in that pot as well for a while.
No, I don't think Alicia thought for a
He split
second
up
Andy
the
really had it
Russians'
straight, because it would have meant that Andy had been getting busy
A good
on the
point.
flop raising
Some
with
of mine
with an
back.
inside straight throw,
Yeah.
or 6-7.
He's been stealing.
Yeah, she was a bit worried about
don't
trips,
mind.
but
I thought you
that
got
one.
straight.
Huh?
I thought you got straight.
Kuzmin has said to Alicia that he thought she had a straight.
Yeah, I wish I
Which
had.
shows how much attention he was paying to the pot. Straight, a highly unlikely hand to have the way that pot was played.
Alicia down to 74,000. which is
10.
amazing considering how many big...
Raised to 10,000 total.
Well, at least she's been unlucky in that she got a lot of huge starting hands
Pass.
and got no action with them when the blinds were only 1-1.
Pass.
You're
I
right.
mean, now it's at 4-4 and 6-6 is the time you want to be picking up those hands, because at least if the pot is uncontested, you're winning a few chips.
Oh, yeah, still 6 players in, and those blinds, 4 and 4, the 8,000, not unhelpful to any player.
And Peter Roach would dearly love to pick up a couple of 8,000s, and I'm pretty sure we'll see him reaching into the cookie jar now that he's regathered. Peter's done the right thing here. He has a little bit. He's had a little bit of a setback, and he's calmed himself down. He's tried to create the impression that he's that he's not as larcenous as they think, and he'll be ready to go quite shortly.
Pass.
On the rampage, I mean, not to get knocked out of the tournament.
Andy
Raised.
Black
12,000
raising
total.
up. Kuzmin has been playing him very tough, but here he lets it get away, and Rochi's going to stick him in. Well, he's certainly threatening that anyway.
I don't think so. I don't think Peter would even want to double through Andy Black at this stage. You know, it's not.
Hey, you're right. He's passed the 2 6s.
That's a good solid pass from Peter.
Re-raise.
This part
24,000.
is the dangers of not
Pass.
playing your hand. Let someone else come in
Go there in total.
and take it away.
How much more?
It's just a bit of a decision for Andy.
29.
Another 12,000 raised back by Sergi, which would indicate either a hand that is exactly like he has, or a pair higher than Andy's. So this is a tough little spot for Andy. Andy may well be quite prepared to throw these 2 2s away and get on with the game.
Will Andy be thinking, Parg,
No.
that if he can get Sergey's chips, then none of the other Russian players will have a chance at them? He's decided just to take the flop. Does he have any indication about what Sergey has?
Well, it looks like he's not. He's not too scared, obviously. If Sergey bets again here, it's night
All right.
Andy. Great play from Sergey.
It sure is.
He smelt a bit of weakness from Andy.
33,000.
Andy's got the best hand here, but it's practically an impossible call.
The biggest news about that flop is that Peter Roach has just quietly vomited in the corner.
Yeah. You know, if Andy had limped with the 2s to try and hit a set, Peter would probably raise with the pair of 6s and be involved here with 3 6s, and he's probably thinking right now that he'd really like to be playing against Sergey here.
God, Andy's thinking of calling, Parg.
If only I could speak Russian, I'd say, do you want me to call?
And I think that's the end of this pot.
33,000 is a huge percentage of Andy's chips right now. It's about half of what he has there.
Well, I think Andy still fancy his chances of winning it if he throws his hand away. He mightn't fancy his chances so much if he calls here and he's wrong. Sergey has played this like like he's got a bit of a hand, hasn't he, Jesse? Well, if you don't know, well, I mean, don't be afraid to say so.
I honestly don't. He's called.
What a call! What a call from Andy!
It's just miraculous. It's miraculous.
Okay.
I think it came down to the fact, Parg, that Andy decided that he needed to have a chance to win Sergey's chips.
Well, it's a very courageous call from Andy, because if he's wrong there, he looks like a complete idiot.
Well, I mean, the best case scenario, which it is that Sergey Baltaka still has 6 outs, Parg, doesn't he?
He does. The board can pair twice with the 7, the 6, or the 9, and he'll win with 2 pair with the ace.
Baltaka down to 6 cards. Andy Black has... Well, it's nearly psychic. What a courageous call by the Irish captain. Can he convert here and give Ireland a hope?
Hello.
He has. Sergey Baltaka is out.
Well, the man has thrown trips away a few times, and then he's played a no hand very aggressively.
Lucky is right.
It's a very, very, very courageous call from Andy, because if Andy gets that wrong,